Good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight at Channel 4 News. It has now been 1 day since the assassination of the heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne, Archduke Franz Ferdinand, and his wife, Sophie, the Duchess of Hohenberg. The perpetrator of this crime was a young Serbian nationalist who was working for the Serbian underground group called the Black Hand, Gavrilo Princip, age 19.
The deadly shot occurred following an initial failed bombing attempt of the Archduke's car by Nedeljko Gabrinovic after the bomb bounced off of the convertible cover and into the street behind the Archduke's convertible. Princip was arrested in the assassination and was taken into custody by Bosnian authorities.
Let's take a look at the streets of Sarajevo, where the assassination occurred, as we talk with our corresponding reporter, Taylor Webster. Taylor, what can you tell me about what you're seeing on the scene?
Thank you, Alana. I'm standing at the site where Archduke Franz Ferdinand was assassinated earlier this morning. After a failed attempt to bomb the car the Archduke was riding in during the parade, a second assassinator was waiting to kill the Archduke. The second assassination attempt was unfortunately successful, killing both the Archduke and his wife. I have spoken to some witnesses who were at the event today, and they explained that they were standing outside the Maximum Shelfers Cafe and saw Archduke and his wife in the open-top car coming down the street. It surprised them to see the Archduke and his wife after the first assassination attempt. The crowd started cheering, and then all of a sudden they heard a gunshot and saw that the Archduke was shot and his wife. They could not believe their eyes. The shooter was standing 5 feet from the car of the Archduke and his wife. The witnesses of the assassination here at Sarajevo are of complete shock. Now back to you, Stephanie.
Thank you, Taylor, for giving us a glimpse of what's currently happening in Sarajevo right now. We're going to touch base now with Emmalynn, who is in Vienna, Austria. Hi, Emmalynn. What can you tell us about the Austrian reaction to the Archduke's assassination?
Thank you, and now we go to breaking news from Vienna, here at the capital of Austria. There has been political assassination in Sarajevo, and Archduke Franz Ferdinand and his wife were murdered today. The city of Vienna is in a climate of full shock and anger. Silence surrounded the capital right after news was spread about the assassination, and people are struggling to even respond to the situation. Our main concern is whether or not the Serbian state was involved in this attack. We know that the attacker was Princip, who was part of the Black Hand group. We are not here today with a local citizen from Vienna who is up in arms about the assassination. Who do you think we have to blame for this attack?
The Serbian nationalists are completely responsible for this assassination. There has been conflict between Austria and Serbia for years, and Serbia feels as if we are a threat to their territorial expansion.
Thank you so much for your input on this tragic day. As we heard, citizens are very upset with the Serbians and blame the Serbian nationalists for the death of Archduke and his wife. With rising tensions, we can see a major conflict between Austria-Hungary and Serbia. Overall, most people in Vienna are stressed. There is no immediate plan to declare war on Serbia, but Serbia is not getting away with what they did to our country. Thank you for your time here today, and we will keep the citizens updated on future plans. Now back to you, Alana.
Thanks, Emmalynn. It sounds like tensions are definitely building within the Austro-Hungarian Empire. Now let's look back to the studio to discuss the event with one of our panelists, Victoria Butler, a political correspondent from Britain. Hi, Victoria. What impact do you think that this murder will have on the global community, and how do you think your government will react?
Like Sir Thomas Barclay noted, I believe the assassination of the Archduke will actually better Europe's prospect for peace. The young Archduke was a bigoted man who leaned too strongly towards military measures. As for our government, right now our country is focusing on the increasing difficulties in Ireland, where nationalists and unionists have daggers drawn over home rule.
Wow, it seems like much of Britain has a similarly strong opinion like yours.
We now have our next panelist, Alyssa, who's located in Austria, and will be sharing her expert opinion on the Austrian perspective of this murder. Hi, Alyssa. Thanks for joining our expert panel for today. Alyssa, we first would like to know, what impact do you think this murder will have on the global community, and how do you think will the Austrian government react?
I think this tragedy will either begin a war or end in peace. Either way, I don't think it will affect the global community. This only concerns Austria-Hungary and Serbia. Our country is up in arms with this horrible event. Austria-Hungary does not want a war with Serbia, but we expect the Serbian government to fulfill obligations that have come along with this dreadful crime. We bow now in grief for this loss. However, nothing can shake our Austro-Hungarian forces.
Thank you, Alyssa. Let's keep our fingers crossed and hopefully this incident doesn't bring any further global conflict.
That's all for tonight, folks. Thanks for watching Channel 4 News.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Channel 4 News. My name is Wilma Cronkite, and today, here is my co-anchor, Shannon Galvin. It's the 23rd of July, and things outside are rather toasty, but nothing could be hotter than the relations between Austria-Hungary and Serbia, because today is a few weeks after the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand.
That's right, Miss Cronkite. The 3-week anniversary of the assassination has escalated the political climate between these two countries. Now that the Austrian Hungarians have sent out their ultimatum to Serbia, tensions have begun to arise. The ultimatum in question demands that Serbia allow an Austrian-Hungarian investigation into the assassination, regardless of the claims that Serbia was conducting its own internal investigation. And in addition to the investigation, Serbia was called to suppress all Austro-Hungarian propaganda and to take steps in uncovering and destroying the organization responsible for this assassination, the Black Hand.
That sounds like one harsh ultimatum, Shannon. Let's talk a bit more about how the world is reacting to this new turn of events. Let's go live to En Chang, who joins us from the streets of Serbia. En, what is the general atmosphere in Serbia at this time? I would imagine that things would be heating up.
Indeed, Serbia is in a very tense state after receiving the ultimatum. About an hour ago, Baron Gizo, the Austrian ambassador to Serbia, actually delivered this ultimatum. It is said that Finance Minister Lazar Paku had tried to reject it. However, this did not change Austria's stance, and the deadline to reject it or to accept the ultimatum is 25th July at exactly 6 p.m. Oh, ma'am, could you please comment on the ultimatum? Is Serbia likely to accept this?
No. As far as I have heard, the terms are asking us to sacrifice our sovereignty. That is outrageous. However, much still has to be deliberated, as our rejection may give Austria-Hungary a reason to declare war.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, indeed. So, as you can see, this matter is way more complicated than we thought. As of now, Prime Minister Nikola P. Paksic is on his way back. Many are wondering of how the government is going to react. Just in. News of the ultimatum has just reached Russia. It seems the timing of this delivery was not a coincidence because key French leaders have just left Russia. With only 2 days left to reply, this is a race against time, and many are curious on how the government is going to answer this ultimatum. Thank you, and this is all. Thank you. Back to you, Miss Cronkite.
Thank you, En.
Let's get back to the discussion. Joining us today to discuss the Austro-Hungarian ultimatum is Ronald M. Donald from the United States, Daniel Donahue from Serbia, and Klaus Schwartweiser from Germany. Ronald M. Donald is a political correspondent from the United States. Daniel Donahue is a representative from the Serbian government, and Klaus Schwartweiser is a political correspondent from Germany. First, panelists, let me ask you, how would your government react to the anticipated rejection of the ultimatum?
The German government is prepared to support our ally Austria to defend itself against the treacherous attack on its royal family. We are willing to use any means necessary to ensure that justice shall prevail for the late Archduke and his wife.
Yes, it really was quite a barbaric and dramatic event for his assassination. We do hope that this conflict and the possible rejection to the ultimatum does not lead to war. Hopefully, if it is accepted, it will be peaceful and it will end the conflict. The United States wants no part in further conflict.
The Serbian government, in the spirit of harbouring peace with our European allies, will accept the majority of the terms as set out by the Austro-Hungarian Empire. However, we will under no circumstances accept an internal inquiry into the investigation of the assassination of the Archduke Franz Ferdinand by Austria-Hungary, as we believe it would be a violation of our sovereignty and our independence and our constitution.
So just to be clear, panelists, what you're saying, in summary, is that Germany is prepared to defend and fight with Austria-Hungary no matter what the outcome is. In the US, you're keeping your eyes and ears open just to see what's going on in Europe, but ultimately you'd like to stay out of any conflict.
Now, let me ask you, if it does come to a war, what do you expect the outcome will be for all of your countries?
The German army is highly disciplined and the loyalty of the people is great. We are more prepared for war than any other European power. Victory in any war is assured within a matter of weeks.
The United States wants no part in this conflict, however. If war were to arise, we wish to remain neutral. Our assets and allies are on both sides and we wish to remain in good terms with all parties.
In Serbia, we are consulting with our other European allies, and Serbia will be prepared to mobilise our forces if needs be to protect the integrity of our constitution and our sovereignty, and we expect to have full support from our Russian allies as well.
Thank you, panelists. Your opinion and insight on the complex issue of the Austrian-Hungarian ultimatum and the possible outcomes of the rejection of the ultimatum are greatly appreciated. Let's go live to Chantal Leblanc, who joins us from Berlin. Chantal, what is the current mood in Berlin?
Thanks, Ms. Cronkite. The mood here in Berlin has been one of complete shock following the events of the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand. We have talked to several residents of the city within the past few days in order to understand the atmosphere here in Berlin. The residents of Berlin have been completely shocked after hearing the news of the assassination. Although they seem to have understood that the Archduke was not the most likable man, he was an important ally to Germany and a fierce leader of the Austro-Hungarian army and navy. It is true that the issue of who will take over the leadership of the Austro-Hungarian army and navy has been present on Germany's mind, as they have and desire to continue to have a strong alliance with Austria-Hungary. The Kaiser has also responded with the notion that the assassination of the Archduke may result in a greater chance of peace, especially within Germany, because there will no longer be the same aggression or unpredictable nature of the Archduke. Germany has felt the loss of the Archduke deeply, the loss of a formidable man who was essential in the creation of the Austro-Hungarian army and navy. The question now for Germany is who will take his place at the helm and whether or not there will be peace or more aggression following these events.
Thanks, reporters. Well, that's it for tonight, folks. You know what channel to tune into to get the most accurate and latest news sources about the ultimatum. We can promise you that we are tracking this event as quickly as possible, and we will update you with any new information.
These are some unnerving times, folks. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. I'm Wilma Cronkite.
And I'm Shannon Galvin. And that's the way it is.